This is Bye Bye Money, and today is December 15th, 2020. And welcome to my live trading journal with live commentary, making $500 a day, solely scalping the ES, only using one setup, the two-legged pullback. I'm trading 5 ES contracts per trade, which is $250 per 1-point scalp. So with just 2 scalps, you can make $500 a day. Guys, it's been a very long time, but I am excited to announce the two-legged pullback indicator is finally available. You can access the indicator by going to www.twoleggedpullback.com. It's the official site of the two-legged pullback indicator, and check out the website. You can obtain the indicator there. If you guys don't know what the indicator is, this is the indicator that I use during trading, and it helps me tremendously identifying two-legged pullbacks. But yeah, check out the website. The website has the two-legged pullback indicator, but also there's just information on there on what the two-legged pullback strategy is, and just also information about the indicator, how to use it. And so check out the website. Please, if you are interested in the indicator, go ahead and go there, and a link will be in the description below. And what can I say? I'm just very happy that I can finally release this to you guys. It was an arduous journey to get this licensed and out there, but it's, I think, going to be beneficial to anyone who uses it. I know that it went on release yesterday, and already I'm getting great feedback from it. After some purchases, a couple people emailed me right away and just said, thanks, just scalped 3 points, already made up the money for the buying the indicator. And so, of course, those results are not guaranteed. The indicator does not guarantee any results. In fact, doesn't really kind of tell you, oh, this is a good buy setup or anything like that. It doesn't promise anything like that. It's just a tool that identifies two-legged pullbacks and even tells you the upcoming two-legged pullbacks, as you can see right here to the right of the candles. It gives you, with the super signal, tells you everything you need to know about the next leg coming up. And so, yeah, very happy that people are using it and that they're benefiting from it. But yeah, so long time coming. Again, it's available now, and I hope for anyone who decides to get it, I really do hope that it helps you in your trading. But by popular demand, I think more people are interested. I don't know if more people are interested, but put in the comments below if you'd like to see more setups, but less analysis. And so, I can do more setups, but the analysis typically is a lot more shallow. Or, let me know in the comments if you like less setups, but deeper analysis to the setup. And so, I'd like to know your thoughts. Every time, I asked that question on the last video, and it was an over resounding, deeper analysis, less setups. But at the same time, when I look at the analytics, I get less views on the videos. But it's kind of funny because I get less views, but the average watch time is greater than all of the, with the videos that have more setups but less analysis. So typically what happens, people just skip straight to filling the trade, which is, I guess, I understand, if people just want to see that, and that's entertaining in itself. But I guess for those who are interested in learning just price action, how to read the charts, and find good setups for a two-legged pullback, the deep analysis is probably more beneficial for them. And so, I might mix it up, but today, ended the day 1375. Had a couple skunks there, but essentially 5 good trades today, 5 good scalps with a couple skunks. But yeah, so today did a raw session, kind of midday, and I hope that's helpful for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, don't forget to check out the website www.twoleggedpullback.com. I would love if you guys just check it out, just look around. You can go through the materials and just see what you like. Oh yeah, also last thing, the ThinkOrSwim script is also available. I began with ThinkOrSwim, and so I created the two-legged pullback indicator for that first. So it's available. It has less features because of the limitations of ThinkScript. But that basically doesn't have alerts, doesn't have anything forward-looking, doesn't have the super signal as well, doesn't have the tick counter. But in terms of counting legs and keeping and identifying the type of legs, it does that all. So for the past legs, for the legs that are already developed. But yeah, check it out if you're interested in that as well. You can find it on the website if you go if you go to the Get Indicators tab. You can find it there. Also a brief video of some of the features when you go to the product page. That's it for the introduction. Enjoy. Alright, gonna do a raw session here. Hopefully we'll get a trade in during this session. Currently we see a strong bounce off the 240 SMA. I mean, anyone who, some people who see this 240 SMA, they say that oh yeah, you're a weak trader, so you need more crutches and you need more things like that. In my mind, I think anyone who says that is crazy. That if this is truly a crutch and you recognize that, why wouldn't you use it? Why would you try to make trading harder for yourself? I mean, 240 SMA so many times acts as support and resistance. Um, breaking down here, coming back up to retest it here, even bouncing off of it right here for more than a point. And mainly, I like to use it, coming and breaking out, retesting it with confluence with the 20 EMA here. Also coming up right to test it, bouncing off. I mean, anyone who says that 240 SMA is useless on the chart, I think is just maybe ignorant or, pride, too prideful to, to use something else other than what I guess Mac uses from price action trading. There's some people who are just gung-ho about that and they just don't deviate from that chart at all. In my mind, if it's useful, use it. And I think more importantly is, not more importantly, but the reason why I put it on here is because Al Brooks uses it. And I mean, I know Mac is, he does his own thing, but I mean, his mentor was Al Brooks. So, if you want to learn something, learn from their mentor. That's what if you really want to learn something from someone, learn from their mentor. All right, we're actually hitting a nice spot here on the 5-minute. And we have a two-legged pullback here waiting for us. A, B, C. And we've had strong bull bars all the way up to here. Plenty of room to the 20 EMA. If we get a good signal bar here, I might be interested. Another reason why is because we had this wedge that we just way overextended. We actually have a wedge here. Oops. We have a wedge here that we broke out of, and I'm thinking we're going to come back down to at least retest it. So we have this, plus we're hitting the top of this channel. And for those who do not know, the way I create channels, I like to use extremes of the chart, the highs and lows. That's because I don't think anything is random in the market. I think every price point, every data point is important and intentional. Like, you might thought this was random. If you didn't have the 240 SMA, you'll say this is such a random bounce. No, it's not. There are buyers waiting right here on the 240 SMA because there are buyers waiting here on the 20 SMA on the hourly. And that's what this 240 SMA represents on the 5-minute. So that's why I like to use, the highs and lows. I like to use every data point. For uptrends, we make the trend line starting from the bottom pivots. So we find two pivots that when connected do not intersect any other points. So we have this pivot and this pivot, and then we have then we extend a parallel line, between these 2 points, between the two bottom pivots, and we connect the point where connected it does not intersect any other points. So I could use this, and I could also use this right here. They're pretty darn close, so I'm just gonna use them later on, because when you update it, it might be more accurate, but who knows. So it'd be pointless to use this one, because if you've extended to the left, you see it would have intersected points. So we need to use this one here. So this channel, and the reason why I like to use this method is because it's not subjective. It's pretty objective way to chart. And so, as we can see here, we were on a downtrend, and I'll change this to just a line here. We were on a downtrend, and originally I had it like here. You see it broke out. Then I updated it, broke out, comes back in. So now this is the final, basically the final line before it breaks out and doesn't ever close underneath it again. So actually, let me make this a little more clear. So here's that channel that basically hit the 204 SMA, bounced off of it, broke out, and now we are in this channel here. At least in my opinion, I think we're going to be in this channel, and we are finding ourselves with strong bull bars. We will need a very good signal bar here to take this trade, because we had 1, 2, 3, 4 bull bars, but look in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The last 11 out of 13 bars were bull bars, and many of them ending on their highs. So we definitely have strong bullish momentum here. But we do have a two-legged pullback at a key area, top of a ascending channel. These typically are high probability trades, because just breaking out of a ascending channel alone is a 25% event. Without basically, without any, it's like maybe a 30% event, 30% event, just without any other indications, without using any other methods of trading. Just if it just breaks out of here, it's a low chance event. Coupled with a good signal bar with a two-legged pullback, then that means on the other side of this trade, we have, I think, a greater than 80% trade to make at least a scalp. But we do have to consider all the price action leading up to here, which is, look at how strong these bars are. Like if it comes back down, and when it touches the 20, it breaks out of 20 EMA, comes back down, and then when it touches the 20 EMA, look at how many bulls were waiting here. They're ready to pounce. They pounced on basically the close of this bar and created this super strong bullish bar off the 20 EMA. And so you can tell the sentiment by how the market reacts to supports and resistances. Here we have another support, and we can tell the sentiment by how the market reacts. Long tail, right, and bouncing off of it pretty in my mind, definitively. So we're reaching this key area here, and I'm waiting for a good signal bar. I'm looking at the 5-minute at the moment. I had eyes on this wedge here on the 2K chart. By the way, I'm trading the straight up 2K chart. I went back to the 2K chart because I think most people who watch these videos trade the 2K chart. So I want to trade a time frame that most people trade, and so this analysis could be like, oh yeah, like I saw that too, and I saw that, and I wonder what happened at that area, so I switched to 2K chart just for you guys, pretty much. But also, who am I kidding? Also, some of the price action lately on the 2K chart have been good, so it's not just for you guys. I actually like some of the price action I'm seeing right now on 2K, so I switched to 2K. I'm gonna get rid of this guy. Just creating. I like to have it for reference, but basically this was a crucial point of the day. Now you might wonder what this purple line is across here. It is simply this gap here. It's the start of the gap, And so that's why we have this strong bounce off of that, because it came to retest this gap here and it bounced down off of it. So that's why this purple line's here. And when we came to it again, we see complete disregard of that. And yeah, so we're seeing still very strong bullish behavior. And on the 5-minute, we can see that we're still seeing bullish behavior. And one huge clue of that is this signal bar right here, or this bar right here. We broke out of this ascending channel, and we broke out with fashion. All bull bars, one bear bar out of this series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of the last 11, 12 bars were bull bars, and that one bear bar barely had a bear body. But this is the kicker for me, is this guy. Goes under one tick, trapping traders. This bear leg ends up becoming bullish. When I say bear leg, I mean it's the down leg of the two-legged pullback. When we do counting, it's the bear leg of the counting. And this counting ended up very bullish. So this shows you just the power of the bulls right now and the weakness of the bears. So we see some sentiment here. And so in general, be very cautious if you're going to go short here. And so I'm considering all of that. We do have a micro double top here now. The breakout. Plenty of room to the 20 EMA right now. Showing a weakness of momentum on the 5-minute, or are we? Let's see. Let's let this finish. How's my 10K look? 10K looks super bullish, super solid. Solid bull bars here. And they're not decreasing in size, so we're not really seeing loss of momentum here. Most obvious trade, in my opinion, right now, it's a while from now, but ABC to the 20 EMA. That might be around here if it does make this move. Or we come all the way up here to the top of this channel, created from this pivot, this pivot, this pivot. It's a similar channel from the 5-minute, but we're using those pivots on the tick charts, and it looks different. And so on the tick charts, the trade is way up here. I'm very tempted to take this trade because on the 5-minute it looks so good, but we still have 4 minutes for this entire candle to develop, and I'm not going to take a short on this terrible signal bar here. So, you know, this will create an outside bar. Essentially, if it does trigger this two-legged pullback. So there we have this two-legged pullback. I mean, the context, excellent. But the price action before the context, not so good. Signal bar, not so good. Excellent location, but terrible price action up to that point. Now, if we get a signal bar that looks like this and it ends near its low without breaking below it, then I would find that there would be a stronger case to go bullish. But I just don't know how long it's going to look like this. I mean, in my mind, it's probably going to poke down a potential trap here. But yeah, I have to wait till that finishes. The 2K chart actually begins the bear leg with a pretty good bear bar here, basically showing a 2-bar range, right? Complete overlap, basically it's an outside bar. And so we need to let this resolve here on the 2K chart. Still hasn't made a point. I mean, terrible signal bar, super strong bullish momentum. That will be a terrible trade to take. You can take it, but it's not one of those 90% trades that we're looking for. You know, strong bullish momentum, terrible signal bar, and you can see that it only goes, you know, beyond your stop entry, only 2 ticks. And that's not a trade that I was interested in at all, and I don't think you should have been either. If we're going to see, basically what we're saying, we're banking on a reversal on the super strong momentum. We need more evidence of that. We need more evidence that there are bears here and bulls are gone. And you know, I don't see much of that right now at the moment. Even with a good signal bar here, this could be risky, to be honest, but we'll see. I'm a little eager to go into a trade here. Just watching the market. We need this candle to finish here. Will we get a double top if this breaks? I want to see how far this trap goes. If this trap fails, if this trap makes less than a point and reverses, I might be interested in going short here because of the confluence with the 5-minute chart hitting the top of this ascending channel. But I need to see a failed trap here. What I mean by failed trap is when this trap triggers, it needs to make less than a scalper's profit, or make exactly a scalper's profit, or make a perfect scalper's profit, which is 6 ticks in my mind. 6 ticks because you know all the scalpers are made their scalp, and then it went because it went 1 tick above the 5 ticks. And so if it reverses after 6 ticks, I think that's a good sign that in that trade there are only weak traders there, weak bulls or weak bears, because they're only allowed to make a perfect scalp. Making a double top here, micro double top. But the 2K chart, you have 1, 2, 3 bars already overlapping here. And so you have to keep that in mind, that when you have these bars overlapping, we're in a range. Very tight trading range, but we are in a range nevertheless. And that makes sense because we're hitting the top of this ascending channel. Traders are considering what to do here. Some bulls are coming out with profits. Some bears are entering the position thinking it will just bounce off of this. But we only go after, we're not taking a bet here. We're just trying to wait here. We're not going to take a bet like, okay, this is going to go down or up. If it's as a swing trader, you can do that, but for scalping, we're not interested in doing that. So we wait for the price action to trigger what we want to see here. We still have this pretty good two-legged pullback right here, and we're waiting. We need the market to tell us what it wants and break above. And I want to see less than a scalper's profit on this trap here. And currently we're at 1 tick, or basically 2 ticks, but 1 tick above the stop entry. Scalper's profit will be at the 75. Okay, so it's right at the 75 mark, and it made a perfect scalp at 6 ticks. Does it go higher than that? If it goes higher than that, I know there are strong bulls here. If it doesn't go higher than that, okay, we're stuck at 6 ticks. Perfect scalper's profit. Okay, it went above the 7 ticks, so I think we might be on some strong bullish momentum still, and the resistance was blown through. So our next trade might be a far ways off. Either we hit the top of this channel on the 2K chart. It looks like this. So look at how many traps we had in 1, 2, 3, 4 traps in a row. That's the strong bullish momentum. This is what we call a small pullback bull trend. That's what Albrooks would call it. Candles ending on their high. We're going to get an exhaustion up to here. We're going to see a boom up to here. Just wait for it. Wait for the boom. We're going to see an exhaustion gap that just flies up to our key area here, and this is where we want to enter short. And we do have a two-legged pullback waiting for us as well. A, B. I want to see this here. I want to see something like that. I think it has more to go. Didn't quite get where we needed to go. We need to get a little higher. It's too far away from our key area. Ooh, that's a good signal bar. That's not a bad trade because you can see this as an exhaustion bar too. But for me, it's still floating in the middle of nowhere. It's enough room to 20 MA. Good signal bar. Some exhaustion here. Some exhaustion price action. You could make a point here. There's a good chance to make a point here. With a signal bar that looks like that, you're just kind of, it hurts to not take this trade. But that's a pretty good signal bar. But yeah, we had a certain plan here, and I was waiting for the plan to execute that made a scalper's profit. Right at 5 ticks, 6 ticks now. Okay, the exhaustion happened on the 5 minute breakout. Might be a false breakout here. Are we missing any other? Am I missing? Did I miss this? Is there something here? Ah, here we go. It's a huge trend right now. Huge trend. One sec. Need to fix this. It's 2 little days. Alright. This is the high. Okay. Is that the all-time high? So I missed this trend line. I didn't realize it. We were about 2 points away from this trend line. Let's find an equivalent trend line on the tick charts. Aha! I missed something. I didn't have that. I didn't have that marked. Should have had it marked. That makes sense why the 2K made a point right there, because of this. You know, sometimes you miss stuff. And I cleared up my charts, and for some reason I didn't mark this. I didn't mark this channel. I don't know why. That was maybe laziness on my part, but that makes sense why it made a scalp right there, and why kind of like it rushed up there, exhausted right up to there. So that's unfortunate. I missed that trend line, and that would have been a very good scalp in my opinion. But the 5 minute actually looks pretty bullish. Like, it doesn't look like it's gonna fail. I mean, that's a pretty bullish bar. Even though there's a wick here, look at the body. It's pretty big. And so we know that they're bulls here. The 10K chart providing a pretty nice signal bar here with a two-legged pullback waiting. So we have this A, B, C. Signal bar is not bad on the 10K chart. Right on cue, making a wick right at resistance. Very interesting. I don't know if I would take this though. I don't know if I'll take that. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very confusing. I wish I took that trade now. I missed this. I missed this trend line for sure. But we're waiting here. If we break below here, we will have the 2K 20 EMA blocking it to make a point. So that could be a precarious short here. And just strong bull bars all the way up to here. And I know this looks like a very bearish bar. I like the context. I like the shape of it, not bad. But I don't know, the fact that it has a bull body, it makes me feel like this is a range at the moment. It could be a 1 bar range essentially, kind of ending near the middle of the bar. So we could find a range here in this spot. Exhaustion bar? No follow through? Is that what this is? Exhaustion bars typically happen at the end of trends. There is no follow through at the moment. Interesting. I'm just you know, we might stall out here for a little bit because we're obviously hitting our head on this resistance. The 5 minute still has a little more room to its resistance, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does kind of pop up to the 5 minute equivalent to that trend line. Kind of have to assume the worst always. You know, if you have equivalent trend lines, but the 5 minute looks a little higher than like the 10K, you know, which obviously is, just assume that, you know, it will be the one that's higher. You know, that's what we're aiming for. Typically, that's how I like to look at it. We do have a two-legged pullback potentially forming here. I wouldn't mind this two-legged pullback. A, B, C. We have a little bit more to form here. We haven't created our second pullback yet, but I'm just anticipating this trade. So reason mainly being is because this bar is pretty bullish on the 5 minute. I think the momentum's still bullish. We did have a bullish close. Not a bullish close, but we have a bull body on the 10K chart. We're right at resistance. I mean, it's not looking good right now. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but in terms of the setup happening now, it has to do this, come back down. I really wanted to touch a 20 MA. The reason being is because if it doesn't, the 20 MA might act as a magnet and bring the trade back down, so it might create a trap actually. Let's see here. Or it might have complete disregard for this trend line now and touch the top of this channel, which to me would be another easy type of short. Yeah, the 5 minute has follow through now. This tells us a lot, this price action. Right, we have strong bull bar. It does have a wick, so you're kind of wondering what's happening here. And then you see the next bar, and it's kind of like a nothing bar, indecisive bar, right? Inside bar. And then the inside bar breaks out to the top side. And so we see we have this range here with this wick and this wick. We have like a small range here. And the traders are trading in this range. And so if this ends bullish, this candle, then I would suspect us hitting up here. If it doesn't, then maybe we have a nice reversal here, but you have yet to see. Here we do have a two-legged pullback potentially happening. A, B, C, and I really wanted to hit this here. As you can see, I marked it here. This two-legged pullback was beautiful. A, B, C, beautiful two-legged pullback. Yeah, I might take some time to go over some of the trades that I already did, but currently we're just focused on this live session. Here we go. Here we go. Let's start our bear leg. Needs to break the previous candle's low by 1 tick at least. We're approaching the second pullback soon. How do we look on the 5 minute? Ooh, the 5 minute. Looking bearish at the moment. Losing momentum on the 10K chart. This could be a good short here if we do get a decent signal bar. We have some conflicting things here. Let's see what happens. I do think this is still a good long entry if there's enough room to the top of this ascending top of this trend line, descending trend line. All right, so not a bad signal bar to go short here actually if you're a bear. Not bad. You can argue that this is a double top here, but yeah, I'm waiting for this setup here, this two-legged pullback to the 20 EMA. This is exactly what I'm waiting for. And I won't try to deviate from that unless one of these give me a really good entry here on the higher tick frames, higher time frames. The 5 minute is looking neutral. Looking neutral here on the 5 minute. Momentum definitely has slowed down. And if we can't close above this green body, then we might have a bear scenario at play. The reason why, if we don't close above this bear body, or basically this bull body, or this close, that means that 2 bars after this bull bar, there was no confirmation. No confirmation of this bullish move. So we'll see here. We didn't get our two-legged pullback yet, which is again annoying. We need this to come down. Very annoying. Anticipating the next trade. Still waiting for this two-legged pullback. First pullback, first entry, second pullback. We want to enter the second entry. So we're still waiting here. Waiting. How do we look? Okay, so we do have follow through on the 5 minute. That means most likely this is not an exhaustion bar. Exhaustion bar should have no follow through. This could be an exhaustion bar. This could not, or this, I think in my mind, is not an exhaustion bar. I think we have more room to go up, which makes this trade a little more attractive. If we can begin our second pullback, that will be excellent. But bulls are fighting. Bulls are fighting very hard. We need to get this second pullback. Still waiting. Still waiting for the second pullback here. Even by 1 tick, I just need a pullback. We're gonna get it. It might not get to the 20 EMA. I wanted to, but we'll see. Okay, we began our second pullback. Beautiful. We actually got a second pullback here. The pullback is very shallow at the moment, but is a pullback nevertheless, even by 1 tick. I would like it to come down to here. I would very much like that, but I do not know if it's going to happen. There is, you could argue to go short here on the 10K chart, the two-legged pullback here, ABC, right at the key area, which is this trend line. All right, let's get this audio back to form, good form here. So we are hitting our heads on this resistance. Remind you guys, from this pivot to this pivot, and now we find ourselves here at this key area. Okay, our bear leg did commence right here. It did commence. We have a two-legged pullback. It's not close to our 20 EMA, which I would like, and it would be a trap trade here as well. But I don't know. I would like it if I had gone a little lower, but let's see here. Let's see. If it does end like right here, it's just a good two-legged pullback. I mean, resistance is right there, as you can see with this line. I don't know. I feel like I don't feel super confident about this trade just because this signal bar, it just doesn't look all that convincing. It's too small, to be honest, in my opinion. I do want it to hit here. If it does trigger this, it'll be a two-legged pullback and a trap at the same time. 10K does look bullish, ends bullish with a bull body. Okay, 5 minute does trigger its own two-legged pullback after this exhaustion, or after this big bull breakout bar. The question is right now, we're trying to answer the question: is this an exhaustion gap or a measuring gap, or a exhaustion bar or measuring bar? What I mean by measuring bar is, will it have follow through of the exact same move? So it'll be a measured move, basically up to here. Is it going to try to do this? Make the same move again, or is it exhaustion bar? Like, this is it. This is the top. All the bulls are out. Bears are going to come in. Okay. The Bears have a fighting chance here to make a point on the 5 minute. I just don't know if it breaks this, if it means much, to be honest. This two-legged pull, but these legs are very small, one tick leg. Here we have, basically 2-point leg, a 2-point leg right here. Yeah, I'm waiting. I would actually like this to go down more and give me a good signal bar down here. It gives me a little more room to make my scalp. Right now, there's barely enough room to make a scalp if it hits this, just basic, the top of this bar here, not enough room to the top of this bar, barely enough room. It'd be like pretty much perfect. All right. Those who try to trade in the 5 minute feel a little bit better now, but this could trap on them. Actually, the trap will happen on the 5 minute and also on the 2K chart. That's kind of nice. Let's see what happens here. I'm still waiting for this bar to finish. Okay, pretty good bear bar. That's what I'm looking for. I need this to get closer to my key area, which is the 20 EMA. And we also have just a small range right here. So you have to consider this range. It's very short term range, but you have to consider it because you have to see if you have enough room to make a scalp. And right currently, barely have enough room to make a scalp still, because this will be the signal bar. Terrible signal bar to go into at the moment. In my opinion, I think we're close enough to the 20 EMA. If we have a good signal bar here, I might be interested, but yeah, the 5 minute traders are excited because they're about to get their point. One more tick down. One more tick down for the 5 minutes to make their point. We'll see how it reacts. My ideal setup right now is coming here with a good signal bar. That is, there we go. So the 5 minuters made their point. I think it made exactly 6 ticks. Yep, making exactly 6 ticks for a perfect scalp. I'm interested here, going long with a decent signal bar. Let's see if we get it. Just watching. Give me a good signal bar. A, B, C pattern. First pullback, first entry, second pullback. You know, we call these ABC patterns as well. It's just so much easier to say, but basically the ABC pattern is the two-legged pullback. Okay, terrible signal bar. We need a better signal bar than that. Context is decent, but with this signal bar, most likely we will come down a little bit further, perhaps even touch our 20 MA, which I don't mind. Which I don't mind at all. Ooh, the 10K. Inside bar in the 10K. Man, that's a very tempting trade. That's a very tempting trade in my opinion. Okay. Currently this is a signal bar. It's a terrible signal bar, so we cannot trade if it does break above. You know, I guess people might ask, you know, what's the importance of signal bars? Or are signal bars important? Sometimes. Most of the time, I think. It all depends on context. If the context is very good, then the signal bar strength doesn't matter as much. But I think no matter what, even if the context is very good, okay, like I said, because of this bar, it went down a little bit further, and I was expecting that move to happen. But you know, even with good context, I'm interested in this trade here. Even with good context, so we have a two-legged pullback. Classic two-legged pullback here. This is a very good trade setup. Even with good context, if you have a bad signal bar, then I would not take that trade. You know, typically bad signal bars are just, you know, when a bad signal bar happens, you basically are trading into something like this, right? You're trying to go short into a big bull bar, something like that. And you can kind of expect traders to be on the other side with limit orders. And you basically have to always expect that, you know, always expect the worst. And so bad signal bars typically lead into ranges because with a bad signal bar, you basically have this, you know, very bullish bar, you know, if you're trying to go short, and then so a range typically happens after that because you have limit order bulls waiting on the other side. And so that's why no matter what, if the bar is bad, like the signal bar is really bad, I'm not, you know, I wouldn't be interested. And so, yeah, you know, that's a general rule of thumb if it's really bad. But if it's mediocre, you know, if it's decent and at a good context, then I would say, you know, I could take that trade. You know, I just want to see my trend line here. You know, we're still above the 20 MA, so I'm not scared at all. But we did break below this trend line here. You know, created from way back here. If we're just to make a, you know, crude trend line here, we're still good on this trend line, I believe. Actually, no, we broke down this trend line as well. So we are breaking down a couple of trend lines, losing momentum, but I'm still not scared here because of 20 MA to protect me. Let's see if the 10K made a point yet. 10K has not made a point yet. That's very tempting. Like that's a very tempting trade to take to go short, in my opinion. But we're trading this two-legged pullback and gonna wait for it. I'm keeping my stop at 4 points here. You know, in my mind, you gotta keep it at 4 points here because you gotta consider the trader's equation. You know, you're trying to make a point, and the risk right now is like 1.5 points. And so, if you're thinking this is a greater 90% probability trade, which I think it is, good setup to like pull back at the 20 MA with strong momentum, strong bull trend. Like, if you think this is a 90% probability trade, there's no way we're gonna have a trader's equation where we can risk only 1.5 points. You know, you have to risk, in my mind, at least 4 points here to get this scalp here. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, I mean, in terms of math, I think it works too. You know, it doesn't make sense for a greater 90% probability trade to have just 1.5 points of risk, or 1 to 1.5 points. This doesn't make sense to me. You know, but I made my scalp there, two-legged pullback. A 10K chart, man. This could still make a point here. Still, you're still in this trade, but that's still tempting. But yeah, so there's a two-legged pullback right at the 20 EMA. It just works as it just works like a charm. Actually makes a perfect scalp here. I might be interested in this 10K chart, a 10K trade if it gives me another second leg or second entry down. What I mean by another second entry down is here's the first second entry. I guess kind of confusing to think about that, but you have an ABC pattern here. So this is the first second entry. But you also have this you also have this two-legged pullback A, B, C. And so a reversal here will also be a two-legged pullback because you have an ABC pattern here. I think it's good to remind, for anyone watching, that there's two types of two-legged pullbacks. There is the classical, right? You have essentially a lower low, right? You have a low here and a lower low. This is the classic two-legged pullback. And then you have a variation of a two-legged pullback that looks like this. Here you go long with a lower low. Here is a lower high. You gotta remember the counts only reset if the pivot high breaks above the previous pivot high when we're looking for two-legged pullbacks to go long. And so, or when we're looking for second entry longs. And so here, this will be a variation number 2. You would have keep doing that. You have A, B, C, and here we want to go short. I mean, it's the inverse of this, but this is basically what it is with basically at this point a lower high instead of a higher high. So we do have a two-legged pullback waiting here for us. Another two-legged pullback or a second entry. And I'll be interested in this second entry just because I saw this and it tried to reverse, and when it reversed on the 2K chart, it made exactly a perfect scalp, 6 ticks. Again, I call it a perfect scalp because I know all the scalpers made their point, but basically only went one more tick above and then came right back down. Here, this trap currently is failing. We do have a trap here. It's failing here. In a sense, I almost want to go in right here on a second attempt under the signal bar. But, we also have to consider we have a 20 EMA on the 2K chart that might be acting as support here, which is kind of why I didn't want to enter here, right? I did the opposite trade. I took the two-legged pullback here because of that 20 EMA. But it looks like the 20 EMA might be weakened right here if we break down it. But we still have not broken down underneath it yet. Ooh, we have a good two-legged pullback forming here. Very nice two-legged pullback forming here. Currently looks like this. A, B, C, something like that. And you're expecting to go long here. This is a setup we can anticipate. Don't know if it's going to happen because this has not triggered yet. The second pullback has not triggered. Okay, so what happens here, right? We're going to look at closely what happens here. You had traders who went short here. This is the 10K chart, the straight up 10K chart. You can see in the top left says 10K. It's not the Fibonacci number. I'm just using 10K chart. I believe Mac uses a 10K chart as well. So look at what's happening here. Look at this price action. Traders who went short here, right? I'll just draw a line here. There are traders who went short here, seeing this two-legged pullback at resistance. Now, we see that the market had reversed and actually trapped them. Now, this trap didn't really make a point. Instead, it comes back down, and guess where it reverses? It reverses right at where the short or the bears had entered in. And so that gives us, this price action tells us a little bit something about the market. It means that the bears here, I think in my opinion, are weak because they came out break even. Instead of holding on to their positions, they got spooked by this trap and they said, oh, this is a gift. I can come out break even. And they came out break even here. And so that's what happened. That's why it reversed right there. Right one tick under this bar right here. But perhaps once all of those bears are out, the strong bears who are buying with limit orders might come in, and they'll take their trades, man. They'll take all of that. The strong bears here, they'll see the small move here, and they say that's nothing to me, and they, will, in fact, maybe even double up their position if they feel like that's what the price action is telling them. So that's why we saw a bounce right there. These bears who came into this bar came out break even. And so now we know that the weak bears are out. Weak bears are out. So perhaps only people left, only bears that are left are strong bears. Depends on how this reacts. If it reverses here, then we know that the weak bulls are out. Because the weak bulls were waiting here and they were trying to scalp out 1 point. And if it reverses here, then we know the weak bulls are out. So the weak bulls basically nullify the weak bears, and all you have left are strong bulls, strong bears at that point. But if it reverses up here, then we know all there were weak bull or weak bears and strong bulls now. Strong bulls and weak bulls. We have limit bulls here. That means bulls with limit orders. And yeah, let's see how strong they really are. We never got our two-legged pullback yet. We're still waiting for a break of a previous candle's low, or prior candle's low. But that's interesting. I think it kind of lets us know, okay, how many bulls are here, how many bears are here, how many, in my mind, there are 8 types of traders. It might sound crazy, but if you can somehow keep track of all these 8 traders, then I think you might have an advantage or edge. Basically, you have weak short entry bulls, you have strong short entry bulls, you have weak limit order bulls, and you have strong limit order bulls. And basically you have all of that for the bears. You have weak bear stop orders, or weak stop order bears, strong stop order bears, weak limit order bears, and strong limit order bears. So there's, in my mind, basically 8 types of traders. And here we see the battle of all 8 of them. Mostly the strong or the weak limit order bulls, right? And the weak limit order bears are fighting right here. That's why it's oscillating between here. And we know that the weak bears here are now out on their trade break even. They keep trying to come out break even here, thinking this might reverse. They're just not interested in this. They think it's too risky now. The 5 minutes still waiting for that second pullback on the 5 minute. We'll be interested in a trade here. We can get it, right? 20 EMA basically, top of this wedge, top of this ascending channel, right? Retest, and we still haven't hit our key area, which is right here. And so we have a nice, and this exhaustion bar didn't have a reversal. It's actually, right, essentially creating a trading range. And so we have good reason to believe that this has more room to go up. Typically, if it's an exhaustion bar, it'll just kind of reverse. It reverses kind of violently or definitively, because for exhaustion bars, essentially, you have all the bulls or whatever, all the bears just coming out at one time, just taking all the profits, creating that exhaustion. They kind of take that opportunity to get out. If that were to happen, if that happened here, then we will see reversal. But we see that bulls are still holding onto their positions. They did not all come out, right? They're all still, there's still at least around 50% of this bar we're finding some support, and so we know that the bulls are still here. Those bulls who think that this has more room to go up. So we're looking here. We might get our second pullback here, which would be beautiful, which I would want to see. I want to see something like this. That would be very nice if we can get something like that. But we are waiting, right? We want the market to come to us. We do not chase the market here. Okay, so strong bears might be coming in now. The strong bears are saying, I'm tired of this. Let's just take over right now. Let's all go in. But we'll see here. Wow. Can you tease me any more than that? Can you tease me any more than this right now? Ooh. Huh. The weak bears are out. Will they come back in here? Strong. Very good bearish bar, right? This bull bar here, this bull leg ends up bearish, giving us a clue. That resistance here. Be a trap on the 22K chart. Ooh, trap on the 2K chart, huh? I am very tempted for this. I am very tempted to enter in this 10K chart. Do I want to pick up the sloppy seconds? We wait here. We wait here. We won't take this trade. I'm just interested in this trade. I'm okay letting this go. I'm okay letting this go. It hurts, but just seeing how the weak bulls or the weak bears are out, I don't know. I don't know if they will come back in here. Are the weak bears out is a question. I guess the question is, would they come back in? We need some combination of like weak bears or strong bears, strong bears, some weak bears, and weak bulls. That's the combination we need. I do think we have weak bulls because we couldn't make a point on this trap here. We have some wicks growing here, right? Making lower highs. We still could not trigger our two-legged pullback on the 5-minute, which is a shame. $2K chart acting absolutely terrible. Tight trading range. This is super choppy here. We cannot trade this, right? When does it get choppy? When would you say this starts getting choppy? I would say it starts getting choppy probably right here with these two bars. These two bars are pretty much overlapping, and then this bar is overlapping, this bar is overlapping, and since then all the bars have essentially been overlapping each other. We still are trending here, and you would suspect the trend to continue trend here. Okay, so we're just choppy here. That's why I'm just talking and nothing's happening. So maybe this is a good time to overview some of my trades. We're still waiting here. I mean, I would like to see. I was very tempted to enter here. If this makes another inside bar here, nah. The longer this stays like this, in my opinion, ooh, I don't know. Just seeing how this reacted right there, right where the weak, showing us that there were only weak bears here. All right. Could not make. Okay, we actually have a two-legged pullback here. Very nice two-legged pullback. Right, never really going under 20 MA A, B, C. I don't know if I would take that. I mean, very nice as in it looks good, but I don't know if I would have necessarily taken this because we have so much choppiness. You know, legs barely making a point. Still right into resistance here, and I guess technically we can update this now. We update it because it broke above and came back into it. We're still trapped here until the 25s, so this is why this super signal shows that we have a magenta box here, because this is still, we're still in trap city. If it goes to the 25s, watch the signal bar, it will change color because it's no longer a trap. But as it currently stands, we are in a trap right now. We're still in a trap. We're in trap city. It fails to make a scalper's profit. It makes a scalper's profit at the 25 mark. So it looks good, but like I said, we're choppy, and so typically when you're choppy, you do not want to enter in with stop entries. Choppiness means people are entering with limit orders. You know, you have those are the weak limit order bears and bulls. Just trying to make a quick profit. They're scalping. You know, they have their own way of scalping. You know, these trading ranges. That is another method of scalping. That is for sure. Not much happening here, so I'll close this around 2 o'clock, and yeah, we'll close up the raw session there just because I don't want this to be like 3 hours of me just babbling. Choppiness. How can you trade this? Tell me, anyone who's trading this. You have balls of steel. I just don't know how you would trade this. In my mind, that would be gambling, right? 50-50 in my opinion, right here. I was slightly leaning bullish, but almost negated by how close we are to the resistance here. So slightly bullish just because we're above the 20 MA. Yeah, not only above it, we're kind of like, as you can see, we're really respecting it right now. You know, we're not closing underneath it. We're touching it, maybe going underneath a little bit, but we're not closing underneath the 20 MA. So that's why I'm saying this might be a little more on the bullish side, but very, very marginal. Just you know, how bullish it would be. Okay, so you see the trap actually triggered because it broke underneath the prior candle's low here. So we have a trap, and this trap might fail here. I wish the 5 minute still. I want a second leg. I want a second pullback here. Still waiting. What's my 10K saying? 10K still has not made a point for those who entered short here, who kept, you know, if you're a bear here and you just kept it through all of this, man, you have serious iron fist. That's, you know, come back up here to basically retest, but still, as you can see, this trap on the other side of this doesn't make a point. So bears still have a chance here, in my opinion. I don't know how beneficial this is going to be for you guys, but I'm just basically talking through a range right now, and yeah, essentially the character of the market is a range, overlapping bars, almost in every time frame. Higher time frame, 10K chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overlapping bars. 5 minute chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 overlapping bars. 2K chart, we have, you know, I don't know, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 overlapping bars. And so what do we do here? Absolutely nothing, you know. And so we wait until the character of the market changes. We cannot enter in here until we see that. So this is why we're just kind of waiting around. And yes. This was the first trade I took today. I took this trap. I'm gonna just go over some of my old trades here. My previous trades around 9:15. There was a trap here. How is this trap? Well, because you have this A, B, C, and this A, the second entry, only goes 4 ticks and then reverses right on the 20 EMA. And so that's why you never trade against the 20 EMA. You never trade against the 20 EMA. You never trade against resistances or supports. It might work sometimes, but we're not trying to enter in things that work sometimes. We want to enter things that work just pretty much all the time. That's the trade we want to. Of course, there's no such thing, but that's what we're looking for. And so I was waiting here for the trap, and yeah, scalped out a point right there. That's my 2K chart. As you saw me, I scalped this trade here. I scalped this trade here. So we have this trade here. We have A, B, C. And you might wonder, why didn't you enter here? Why did you enter here? Why didn't you enter into this two-legged pullback? Pretty good signal bar. Right off the 20 EMA. I was very tempted to enter this trade, but you know, the context was very good. And even when you look at the signal bar, you say, dang, that is bearish. That's a bearish signal bar. And it is bearish. But in its context, let's take a look at this chart, or this candle here. The candle right before it basically has a low, right, that doesn't give you enough room to make a point here. It could act as a type of support. And so that's what you saw here with this next candle. People bought the bottom of this candle, and so it reversed and actually traps. But this trap fails, and then we have our second entry right here. And so that's why I was tempted, but I didn't take this one. I took the second one instead. And you can see how kind of like, you know, violently goes down like this. That's because those who went short here, they went short again here, doubled the position, and they saw the premise was still good. In fact, if you did take this short here, you've been fine. You would not even have been stopped out, because you see this, the high of this candle doesn't break above the signal bar here, and so you'll still be in the trade no matter what. You know, you could, you know, trade, have your stop order 1 tick above the signal bar here. You know, I probably would have about 4 points from the entry. You know, so in both cases, you know, you'll be safe. And those people saw that, saw the premise was still good, and they entered here. But I took this trade instead. So we have a two-legged pullback here, and we also have a two-legged pullback right here. Oops. We also have this two-legged pullback, A, B, C. And so that was another trade I took off the 20 EMA. And context-wise, right? Spike in channel, right? Bull spike in channel. But bull spike in channels are actually it's actually bearish. Why? Because you have a spike here, bullish spike, and then a channel that goes at a rate less than the spike, showing loss of momentum. And essentially what Al Brooks would call this will be a bear flag. I know bear flags typically have strong downtrends that look like this, right, in the bear flag, but to him it doesn't matter that there's no strong downtrend before it. To him, the shape of this is just a bear flag, you know, the slow ascending channel. And when it broke down this bear flag, it also broke the 20 EMA, and we can see that breaking both the bear, or this channel, and the 20 EMA at resistance, right? Because this resistance was right here, created by this gap, and we're at that resistance level. We can see that a retest of the 20 EMA was a good entry. So that's kind of why all the thought process that I took to get into this trade. you know, that's before 10 o'clock. You know, you could have been done right there if you wanted to get into a scalp. Uh, you know, first 30 minutes of trade. I considered this trade, but I didn't take it. That's why I marked it with a square. It's because we had a wedge here, a wedge with this pivot low, this pivot low. If we extend it, we see we had 3 pushes down, and 3 pushes down or 3 pushes up is a wedge. And when I say 3 pushes down, sorry, let's see where we are right now. Okay, yeah, so we're acting, so it's bullish right now. We couldn't get our 2-legged pullback. It's a shame that we couldn't get our setup here, but yeah. And those traders who did not get out at this break even, you know, that gift, you know, those who wanted to stay in, they are sweating. They're sweating right now. They're sweating. All right. I consider that trade, but you know, it's a 2-legged pullback, right? A, B, C. 2-legged pullback at the bottom of the wedge. I didn't take this trade because a couple things. One thing, at this time, the channel looked something like this. And I saw that there was more room to the channel. I also saw that 240 SMA was here, which sooner or later it did come down to test and hit. But I thought it would try to at least come back down to test this, which it did later. But before then, it just bounced. And strong bear bar here. You know, with a pretty good signal bar here, but still didn't. You know, I just didn't feel confident because I thought it was gonna come down here, which sooner or later it did. But 2-legged pullback. Another 2-legged pullback here, but I would not have taken that trade either. So now after this, you adjust your trend line, update it to a point where it's basically right here. After all of this chop, and so we have this channel here, and yeah, I took this trade, ABC pattern here. ABC, good signal bar, closing above the 20 MA. Let's see. We do have a possible reversal here, but I'm going to wrap up the session because it's been about an hour. Hopefully still beneficial to you guys.